Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the next Wasteless World Talks with Bill, Kevin, and myself. We will write on the back of language, and we will do something what we did only we do only for the third time in 3 years. We will repeat the term which we already discussed, and the term seems to be very simple. It is drum or drums. Bill, do you remember why we decided to repeat it?
Yes, the conversation last week evolved very quickly from drummers and drumming and marching to the drums, and how drums captivate. They don't captivate people's minds as much as they capture, and they don't allow thinking. If you're marching to the drums, you are not thinking. You are simply going where the drums tell you to go. And that then evolved into the political implications. So fill in the blanks. What do you remember of why that was so interesting?
Kevin.
Yeah, I think what we were coming to is the fact that there's the noise of the drums decent, especially in Europe, but there is no noise against the drums. There is no counter argument. In the media, there's no talk of or mention of peace activities or the fact that the young in Germany are unifying against warmongering in Germany. And so we were discussing that there needs to be some reaction against the drumbeat of war.
I think that one of the reasons we are repeating it was, and I have exactly the same feeling as you mentioned it last time, Bill, that the term was same fascinating as the term stone. At the beginning, we said, what shall we, why 40 minutes for one stone? And at the end, we said, we did not start it yet. And it was so fascinating because it's so simple. I have the noon discussion. Unfortunately, there was some issue with Zoom and it did not record it. So I hope our event will be saved. I don't know what happened. I may be connected to my computer, not sure. I have to restart it. But it was quite interesting discussion at the same time. And some of the members of the audience says, I think about drums in a much bigger scale than at the beginning of the first one, which was quite interesting. And there was mentioned one term which we did not mention ourselves. And it was the drums of freedom. So not only war. And the question is, can the drums of war deliver message of freedom?
Well, maybe if the bad thing that you are fighting against is so grotesque and so evil that there is no discussion necessary, and perhaps drums of war can be the drums of freedom. It depends. It depends. It depends.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that this expression, whoever pays the piper, in this case, whoever pays the drummer, we all know who's paying the drummer, and it's not anybody who's interested in peace in any way at all. And so we need not listen to drums at all.
So we need to listen to the rest of the orchestra, to the music, as we said, to the musician, to all the people, connect them together to be more in or to be stronger than the drums itself. Is it so?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a drum beat is one thing, but a song or a melody is more powerful.
I was just thinking about the Ode for Joy from Mozart, because I think that we are not the first one who try to use the music against the war or against the violence and so on. It was in the 60s, as Bill mentioned last time. It was before. I think in all the times there was someone who tried to play the music. But I think we are the first one who are really connected through the all this digital whatever we are living in. So I try to speak with some of the musicians. They did understand the message, but even the musicians don't know how to connect with other musicians. So we have great networks and we don't know how to communicate through the networks itself, how to connect. So there is a question how to do that. And I just remember one learning. Drum beat is a frequency. With a drum beat, you can stop the heart beating. If you know how to, if you reach a frequency, you will stop the heart beating. So you can kill someone easily.
If the giants get the wave, there's more than one heart that will be stopped. That's for sure. But I think that, you know, the drum is a crude and ugly instrument. But the most beautiful of all of our instruments is the human voice. And so we need to use our voices to counter the drum.
You know what is interesting?
So,
sorry, Bill, you.
The effect of the drum beat is to stop our brain from thinking. It disengages thought in our minds, and that's the beauty of music. Music engages our thought. It makes us think of something beautiful or something. The drum stops the thought. So we need to use the music as the key to pierce that veil that the drum has put down. The drum has put a veil, stopping thought. But music will engage the thought again.
You know what is interesting? That almost every nation, every country, they use drums. Drums has been, I think, one of the first instruments, music instruments, which has been used. Then came pipes, I think. That was some type of pipes, flutes, and so on. And the voice was there as well. And I'm not sure whether first the people sing, and we will never know whether it was first the song or whether first was the drum. No idea. And we will never come to it.
Yeah, and the drums were used as a way of communication. I remember our Civil War in the 1860s, and drums were used for communication. And runner boys, little 10-year-old boys, would carry messages from one general to the next general. There were no radios, of course. So drums, the choice of drums of what to be beating on, the rhythm, told the soldiers, okay, we're going to advance now. Okay, we're going to retreat now. That was one of the functions of the drums.
And if I do remember, in Amazonas and in this forest, the inhabitants use drums to communicate across the forests. In Europe, I think in one country, I think in Spain, they use what is the sound like this? Not whispering.
Whistle?
Whistle. Like whistle language exists. And it's interesting that in Europe, we didn't use so much the drums itself. In the war, we did, but not for the communication. But I like the idea of sound, you know. Almost every one of us has a voice. We are not singers ourselves, but we can sing a song. It will be not perfect. We will not probably hit the American Got Talent golden buzzer, but still we can sing. And through sing or through singing, we can synchronize.
Yeah, and the bigger the choir, the bigger the orchestra, the more powerful it is.
And even in the past, yes, sorry.
I was going to say, I think the people who are banging on the drum, I found that it's just a really simple statistic about the First World War, where they would walk up and down the streets of English cities with recruiters playing drums, and everyone would come in behind them and walk to the recruiting center and join the army. We had roughly 1 million men fighting in that war, which lasted for 5 years. Half of those men who died, of 1 million men died, half of those men have no known graves. And that's what happens if you start getting behind drums.
Bill, can you still hear us?
Yes, I dropped out, but I'm back.
So, and I think that even the church used the voice. If we go back to in time, this strong monks who start to sing these chorals, or we call them chorals, it's a very powerful when they sing it in the church and even outside. So the voices are very powerful. And I do remember that. Yes, sorry, Bill, or who was there?
Keep going. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, so in general, in the 15th century, there was in Europe, or in my region, let's call it so, because it was not Czechoslovakia. In my region, there has been soldiers, so soldiers from ordinary people, and they called themselves Husiti, and there has been very aggressive. So, but they use the voice and sing in front of this German readers and everyone, and they are able to scare them just with the voice, which was very interesting because they synchronize the voice. So I think it's not about the music itself, it's about the synchronization of the voices, putting them all together. Then I think we can be much stronger than the drums.
Yes, the synchronizing, it's more than the voice. It's not the voice. It's the psychological reaction of the other person to the voice, right? It makes me want to sing along. It makes me want to be a part of this movement. It speaks to something that I believe, and that's the power. That's the power in other types of music or in singing, that it so deeply engages us, which is the opposite of what drums do. Drums stop us from thinking. Music and voices make us want to think. It's not even a choice. It speaks to some level, psychological level.
Kevin?
No, I agree totally with Bill. I think that we have to think for ourselves. We have to think and pass the message on. And music is such a brilliant way of passing on a message, passing on communication. It's really a powerful tool to communicate with.
I was thinking about what you said about talking to the musicians who don't know how to get it started, and I'm thinking back to the anti-war songs, excuse me, in say 1966 or somewhere along there. Somebody sang a song that touched people, as an anti-war song that touched people. And so I think it takes one, because I think there's a lot of people out there who are thinking and feeling this same level of revulsion against what's going on. That when that first song is sung, 100 others will be there within a day or a week, because the feeling is there. We know that feeling is there, and we just need something to touch that feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know if you heard, Bill, in the UK, they started a new political party at the weekend, and it's an anti-war, anti-poverty party. And after 3 days, it had 500,000 members. And you think the Brits don't really do politics. So 500,000 people finally found somebody who's listening to their concerns, who shares the same concerns, and felt so strongly about it that they actually joined the party, even though it doesn't have a name yet. And so I think that there is huge frustration about the way the world is turning towards militarism again. And it isn't political parties, but it is a song which will unite people across, and especially across borders. That's the great thing about music.
That's brilliant. Brilliant.
And I think if the party will be there and they will be the leaders who can really lead it on the political way, I mean, in the parliament and in the House of Commons and so on, they have a very big chance if they do right the timing, because today is all about timing. We have a party here in my country which called the motorists, and the motorists are again electric vehicles. They are fighting for generally they are again Green Deal and so on. They have a representative who is very rich and have many cars and so on and so on. But they came in too early. If too early, the people forgot about them. And they make a lot of mistakes and there is a lot of negative things about them. But if they came just a few weeks before the elections, they have chance to be elected. If they come too early, are they not? And about the songs, Bill, the issue is that today, every day, there is some new song. There are many charts and so on. There are many celebrities who sing, and we have this American Got Talent and whatever all screamed on the TV. And even if there is someone who is really, really good, who has a good voice, good sound, everything is good, even his own song or her own song, somehow they disappear. This popularity swipe them away, which is a pity. Because I do remember a few months ago, there was Bardi man from somewhere in the middle in the US, a farmer, or I don't know who he was, and he has a really very strong message. I don't even remember his name today, and it's not so long time ago. So the issue is to take the song, and maybe this is because songs become commodity. But this one cannot be commodity. This one must resonate inside every one of us. And there was a new guest in the noon discussion, and she said, drum, it's the heart. Because heart is our personal drum. It beats. And she said, I remember the beats of the drums. And that's exactly, I think that the new song must touch not only the brain, but must touch the heart and must be somehow universal, because Scottish music is different than Czech music and is different than, but Mozart, some of his music speaks to everyone. And if Falco take it in his hands, it was speaking to the world. But right now, I don't know. I have written my anthem. I'm singing it almost daily, and nobody tried to sing it with me. My mom even switched the recording off. She said, I can listen to everything instead of the Wasteless War anthem. So the question, whom to call? Whom to call really? We cannot call Ozzy anymore. So who will be the one? Because she or he must come to us, must be attracted to the idea. I try to promote it, but the word is I don't have connections in this word, to be honest, or not so many.
But you have connections. You have connections.
Yeah.
And each of them has connections. And if everybody, if your 120 ambassadors would turn around to their 120 contacts, that's where it's going to come from. Somebody will hear it.
We
So
are already trying, so
keep talking.
we will. Kevin, you are a screenplayer. You are writing movies, or books which will turn to movies. Do you think that, because I do remember for sure the movie Hair, which was a great, and it's a musical and so on. It's a Czech director generally who does not live anymore. But it was filled with songs, exactly from the 60s, which Abel mentioned. And I do remember it. And even now I have a goosebumps when I remember some of the songs, anti-war songs. Do you think that including such a message in a movie, which will become bestseller or whatever, can make such a change?
Yeah, there's a lot of anti-war movies have been made. Some of them really, really good. But the sentiment isn't there. The sentiment to make these things in Hollywood doesn't exist anymore. Hollywood needs investors, and these investors, they're the same people who have shares in the Giants. And so they're not interested in peace at the moment. War is a very profitable business, and I think peace pays that well.
And it's true that you don't see today a peace movie. You say no. Super agents and super whoever, Superman, and everywhere is fighting. Everyone is fighting.
Yeah. And you think a lot of these movies are recruiting tools as well. So if you write a movie about the US Navy, you will be given access to ships belonging to the Navy, because for the Navy, it's a great way for them to recruit. And so everything is geared up for pro-war movies, not anti-war movies.
I think there is a new movie with Keanu Reeves, who play an angel. It should be a comedy. Just yesterday, I have seen something, so I will try to reconnect with him somehow. But still, even he can be a great, and he is a great actor, but somebody has to write a song. Somebody has to find a melody for everyone to remember.
Yeah, and where is the new Bob Geldof? I mean, he did a fantastic job against hunger in Africa. And it was more than just a song. It became a movement. It became events. It became a huge and powerful instrument. And that's what's needed today.
So we should not speak only to the musician themselves or to singers, but we should speak to the world, because someone have these songs already, I think. Just didn't take it out. Just was not able to promote it.
Last week did we come up with the opposite of drummers or drumming?
We tried to, and I think one was the silence. The next one was
harmony.
Harmony, exactly, harmony. And there was one more which you introduced, I think, Kevin, at the end.
How about the word apathy? apathy is what stops. It's a great immovable mass. If people are apathetic, the more apathy there is, the less change there will be.
But the question is, we need a change. So we cannot stop. Of course, it will help us for some time, like not being connected. So this global zero data day, it's great. But from the long perspective, it can deliver quite an opposite result. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure about it, Bill. But I'm sure that the movement can be waken up, and we have the tools to do it because of the internet. Nothing what we use today was used in the 1966.
Right, right.
Only the phones, maybe, and there has been not mobile phone. So I do remember when I was working in the refrigeration company, and it was a time when the first mobile phones came, and there came something which we called SMS gates. So on your computer, you install some small program, and if you have the number of people which you would like to reach, you use the gate. You write a message which was just 180 whatever long, and you just send it. It was free of charge from the computer. And I, at the time at the refrigeration company, we served the people who install the refrigeration, so fridges and so on, and all of them use coolant, so the liquid which is inside. And I said, okay, so all of them are installing, all of them have in the pocket the mobile phone. So, and they all will need more refrigerant if there is hot weather. And I set it up so when it was more than 26 or 28 degrees Celsius, everyone received a short SMS message, the coolant is 10% off. Do you know what was the success rate? 98%. And the only one who did not order has been those who has been on holiday.
Wow.
98%.
So that's a success.
And I think today has everyone a mobile in his pocket, one or the other. SMS can everyone read, not the other messages, but SMS, even those who has those wise mobile phones can read SMS messages. What about using the same or similar? But
That's one thing that we have now that we didn't have, and we're getting more and more is the transparency, the visibility. We know much more about what's happening, or we have the ability to know, and it's more difficult for the giants to hide things. They can lie about them, but it is found out because of the visibility that the world has today.
on the other hand, making the newsletter, the Bureau Veritas just spoke about Industry 5.0. And I said, great. KPMG did today. Great. But they don't want to listen to the original, They have their own how to sell it. They use it as a sales tool.
Yes.
And I think even the giants, last week I was cut out from the medium.com. Just now I'm back already. I'm happy. But it's not us. I think we need the very basic tools. The very basic tools. Remembering the 60s, remembering how it came, who was the first one, why it resonates so strong. I don't know if you know the book from Karel Čapek. This is the author of the term robot. He wrote many books, and one of them is called Mother. And he died in 1938. And it was about a mother and she lost all her sons in the war, in the First World War. and one after another. It is so powerful book, so powerful that I'm sure it will resonate with many, but they will not read it anymore. But they are these songs, they are these ways, they are the books, they are. But we will not be allowed to scale it on the existing media. So we have to use the old way to do so. You are muted, Kevin.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think there was one really bright ray of hope, potential hope, and that is the young. I don't think they will react to the drumbeat the same way the previous generations have. I think they are much smarter than any other generation. And I think that any anti-war, anti-militarist movement in Europe must involve the young, must be almost made by the young, driven by the young, because they'll be the ones who have to do the dying in the first place. But I think they're the ones who have the power to reject the giants.
And they have the tool. They can use the tools which we cannot use anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So it isn't actually, there is potential hope that the giants, this time, they can beat that damn drum all they want, but we're not going to go march off to the war because the young will reject it.
Interesting.
That's hopeful. Yes, that's interesting. Oh. Okay. When you say something like that, Kevin, it makes me want to listen more carefully. Perhaps I've not been thinking along those lines, and I need to, so I will. Going forward, I will look for evidences that I know the young people are different. Each generation is different. I just don't know how strong that is.
I think at least I feel that they are strong, but they are missing. They are strong in the virtual world. They can do viral content. They can do a lot of things. So have billions or millions of views in a minute. But when they came to delivery, I mean to transfer in the physical world, I think they struggle. So this is why I think that young and old, or us, let's call it young and old, it doesn't matter. We doesn't feel bad about. Together, that's the power. You know, there is one more thing, because many countries has more older people than the young ones. And just the Africa and very few countries around the world has a higher natality rate than the mortality rate. So I think the harmony, to establish the harmony, and this is exactly, in Industry 5.0, we have something which we call the social waste, which are people who do not work. And these are the young ones, which according to the legislation, they cannot, because of not being of age in Czech Republic of 18 or at least 15. And then the old ones in seniors, which already worked all their life and do not work anymore. I think even these two, putting them together, that will be very powerful, because the ones has memories and ability to work still with the hands or show up. And just before we started, there was an event in India where they speak about AI, and they connected with Industry 5.0, but there was no connection. But there was a very interesting question of one young engineer, probably. He said, okay, if we as humans hand over all our knowledge to AI, what will receive the next generation? Where the next generation will learn? Not from humans. It will learn from AI or robots and so on. And I don't know whether you see the last robot promotion from China. It will cost 5,900 US dollars. And it's unbelievable. It's a humanoid robot. It's unbelievable how it moves, it runs, it makes a lot of things which just a year ago you will not say it will be able to. But the truth is, from whom will learn the new generation? From robots, AI, or humans? And I think this is why putting it together, it's so important. And both generations must understand why they should work together, why they deliver. And this is exactly what was in the 60s, because I do not want to be killed in a war, which is a nonsense, and I don't want it.
I think if you look at the million youngsters who left Russia rather than risk being drafted into the army, I think that's such a powerful symbol of the resilience of the youth and the fact that the young are not going to be driven to slaughter like previous generations have been.
It is so. We have less than 3 minutes left, just for your information. So we have to wake them up. We have to give them the tools, because even if they wake up and without the tools, they will go to sleep again and it will be much deeper. So we have to give them the tools. And this is why all the generation must be open, because we are humans. Young, old, this is just the engineer or president. This is just just titles. Humans, this is art.
But see, that's one of the problems, is that we must all be open, but we are not all open. There are huge parts of society that reject, that will not have a conversation like we're having this morning, right? They know their beliefs, they defend their beliefs, even when the beliefs are not backed up with facts, but rather with propaganda. And I don't know if that's 50% of the world, or of America, or more or less than that. But it's a huge block of people who refuse to understand, who insist that they know the truth. And so, how do we need to move them, or do we just need to move the other 50%? So who is the song being written for? Who is my book being written for?
For me, the answer on this question, for human, because then it will disappear. But we have less than 1 minute, so I have to thank you for a great conversation. Again, we stop at the beginning, but have a nice time. Free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe, be free, be human, and let us sing the song of peace together for Wasteless World. See you next week with another term. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.